introduction. He also has been a longtime supporter and speaker at SDForum events. I think after this I may start calling him our e-speaker, since the last time he spoke at SDForum it was for our first ever evangelist conference, and today he'll be speaking about enchantment. So thank you, Guy.
I don't know if you heard this story. It's a great story about the mobile internet that I guess some like world-class violinist was in London and was at a sandwich shop, and she had her $2 million violin with her, and she was so intent on surfing the web with an iPhone, or maybe it was a Windows 7 phone. She was paying attention so much to that phone that her $2 million violin was stolen while she was eating lunch and doing this. And the manager of the sandwich place said that, you know, it's not our fault because she was staring at the iPhone too intently. So that's the mobile internet story of the week here. It's a great story. I'm going to talk to you today about the art of enchantment, a little bit about my background, because I don't know why people say I don't need an introduction. I worked at Apple from '83 to '87. I was Apple's second software evangelist, so it was my job to convince people to write Macintosh software. After that, I started several software companies. I became a writer, a speaker, a venture capitalist, and I have a book coming out this March called Enchantment. And I think I learned a lot about enchantment at Apple, as well as an entrepreneur and as a venture capitalist. And I'd like to pass along some of the techniques and skills of enchantment so that you may build enchanting products and services and you may enchant your customers. This is a very, very tactical speech. And there's been lots written. I think the grandfather of all persuasion, wooing, enchantment, and all is Dale Carnegie with his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which, believe it or not, in the last 70 years has sold something like 15 million copies. So that's quite an accomplishment. And I think the person who owns the word influence is probably Robert Cialdini, who was a professor from Arizona, and he wrote the book Influence, which is a highly recommended book if you ever want to read another book about influence and enchantment. So I use the top 10 format for my speeches, and I will today. The reason why I use the top 10 format is because I've seen so many tech speakers speak, and I'm sure you might agree with me that the two salient points about a tech speaker is that they suck and they go long. So I hope we disprove that today. And it's not so bad if you suck and you're short. It's not so bad if you're great and you go long. But if you suck and you go long, it's a bad combination. That means stupid and arrogant, right? And so I use the top 10 format so that in case you think I suck, at least you can chart progress through my speech and approximate how much longer I'll suck. Okay, so these are 10 points about how to enchant people. The first point that I learned is that very seldom are you enchanting if you are not likable. And so I think one of the key starting points of all enchantment is you have to build an enchanting and likable product, a likable service, and likable people. And I hate speeches that are just dullism as opposed to, so Guy, you're telling us we need to be likable as opposed to, when I came into this auditorium I thought I had to be an asshole, and so now you've changed my mind. That's a kind of a dullism. But I want to go into greater depth about the foundation of likability. So there's 3 key points. The first point is your smile. There is what's called the Pan Am smile. And the Pan Am smile works like this. You only basically use your jaw, and you kind of fake a smile. That's because no flight attendant is really happy to see a passenger. So what you really want is what's called a Duchenne smile. And a Duchenne smile uses a second set of muscles, which is the ones around your eyes. This is a picture of Marie Smith, the Facebook expert, and she's a friend of mine, and I called her up one day and I said, Marie, I have good news for you and I have bad news. The good news is, in every one of my speeches, your picture will now be there and I will talk about you. The bad news is, I'm using your picture because you have great crow's feet. I'm telling you, the key to a great smile is not your jaw, it's your eyes. You want crow's feet. Crow's feet shows a sincere level of smiling. Botox, plastic surgery, all that's out. You want to be enchanting? You want crow's feet. Crow's feet is in. Second thing about being likable is how you dress. there are sort of three theories about how you dress for a presentation or a meeting. One is that you underdress. The problem with underdressing is you're basically communicating to your audience or to the people you're meeting with that I don't respect you. I can wear a t-shirt and jeans and you can't do a thing about it. That's the problem with underdressing. If you overdress, you're telling people I am better than you, I am richer than you, I have better taste than you, so you're also putting off your audience. The thing you want to do is aim for a tie. You basically want to dress about the level of the audience. So that's step 2. And step 3 is to have a perfect handshake. This is the mathematical formula for the world's perfect handshake. Believe it or not, it was created by the University of Manchester. And all of this boils down to this kind of, firm handshake with a smooth hand that's not wet. You're not too close, you're not too far, 1 to 2 seconds, the perfect handshake. So the key 3 points of likability: the smile, where you have crow's feet, that you dress for a tie, and that you have this good, firm handshake. The next point is to achieve trustworthiness, because you could be likable, but not trustworthy, right? So you could like some Hollywood celebrity, but not trust the celebrity. So the next step is to achieve trustworthiness. 3 ways to do this. First, people you can trust are knowledgeable and competent. They have this baseline ability, this baseline sophistication about a topic. I think a very good example occurs every day on NPR. This is Terry Gross. Terry Gross is both knowledgeable and competent. The difference between knowledge and competence is knowledge is you know what to do, and competent is you do it. Okay, so you need to be both, knowledge and competent. The second way to achieve trustworthiness is to come from a mental framework that I will trust you, and therefore you will trust me. Which is very different than saying, if you trust me, I will trust you. You have to take the first step. These are 3 examples of companies that took the first step. Amazon, to this day, it trusts you. It will allow you to return a Kindle electronic book for free credit, right? For total credit. How much more trusting can it be? I think it gives you 5 days to make that return. Now, you could probably read a book in 5 days, but Amazon trusts you enough to let you return an electronic book in 5 days. Zappos. If Tony Shea had told me, Guy, our business model at Zappos is we're going to pay for shipping both ways, and people can return all the shoes they buy from us, I would have told him he was nuts. That people will use the shoes, and then they'll return it for full credit. You're going to pay shipping both ways. This just will not work. Not only that, but I refuse to believe that women will buy shoes without trying it on. Wrong on both counts. But I think the basis of getting women to buy shoes without trying them on is because Zappos trusted them enough to say, if you don't like it, return it, and we'll pay shipping both ways. And then the grandfather or grandmother of trust is, of course, Nordstrom. What organization stands for retail trust more than Nordstrom? 3 organizations that clearly said to the customer, we trust you. We trust you in advance. We trust you first. Now please trust us. The third way to build trustworthiness is to default to yes. And this is, I think, my most powerful tip for you. If you want to become a great networker, a great schmoozer, a great salesperson, a great evangelist, your default dominant perspective in meeting people should be, I will say yes to whatever they want. If they ask me for something, I will do it. And if you have that attitude, you will go a long, long way in networking and schmoozing people. You might ask, well, isn't that dangerous? People ask me to do unreasonable things. And I've tried to default to yes for the last 20 years, and I can tell you, I can count on one hand the number of instances where people asked me to do something that was unreasonable. Arguably, if somebody asked you to do something unreasonable, you wouldn't want that person as a friend anyway. So it kind of eliminates the problem. Default to yes. When you meet people during the breaks today,